Now, in a gripping turn of events, 303 passengers, predominantly Indians, have found themselves at the center of a high-stakes legal showdown in France. The passengers were detained by French authorities over grave suspicions of human trafficking. These passengers are presently being questioned by French judges at the Vatry airport. This unfolding situation centers around a flight that departed from Dubai and was destined for Nicaragua. The plane was detained at Vatry airport in Maine on Thursday. Now, according to French media reports, hearings before a judge of freedoms and detention are set to commence. This is to decide whether or not to keep the passengers in the waiting area of the airport. The Vatry airport is functioning as a makeshift courtroom. Simultaneous hearings will involve 4 judges, clerks, interpreters and lawyers. The French border police can initially detain foreign nationals for up to 4 days. They can also extend this deadline up to a maximum of 26 days in exceptional circumstances. Meanwhile, the Indian embassy is actively working with the French government for the welfare of the stranded Indians. This intervention by French authorities comes after an anonymous tip-off. The informer indicated that the passengers were likely victims of human trafficking involving an organized gang. Other reports suggest that the detained passengers, primarily Indian nationals working in the UAE, may have intended to travel to Central America with suspicions of attempting illegal entry into the US or Canada. Anne-Elisabeth Motet is a columnist in the London Telegraph based in Paris. Anne-Elisabeth, thank you very much for joining us and welcome to the show. What kind of repercussions could this case have on the Indian government, you think?
I don't think there's so much repercussions on the Indian government per se, because this is, from all information, it's a traffic that's being organized. Not so much from, it's the money is collected in India to take these people to try and immigrate into America. But there's a lot of non-Indian agents on this, actors on this. And the tip-off, from what we hear from the French police, did not come from India.
Anne-Elisabeth, how long do you foresee this case taking?
Well, legally, the judge who decided to stop and detain the 300 people in the Marne, which is sort of East Paris, about 100 miles east Paris. They decided to stop them for 4 days, and they just decided on an extension for 4 more days. And then they have to be sent back, because there are very sort of strict rules about this, and the French government is acting in collaboration with both with the French customs, of course, but also with the European authorities for migrations, who are worried about people trafficking, and they're having contacts, from what we gather, also with the American authorities. And there is an entire possibility that the tip-off came from America, who know that they have a major political crisis, I should say. They have a migrant crisis, but they also have a political crisis. You know that the budget in the Congress has been stopped because of the Republican senators blocking absolutely votes, not because the government seems to be doing absolutely nothing on the mass of immigrants coming to the United States from the southern border. And if there's something obvious that shows that this is organized and something is being done to stop it, it will help the Biden administration. So this is a complex international immigration, illegal immigration and people trafficking issue.
Anne-Elisabeth, we're talking about over 300 people, and we're talking about human trafficking. What does it say about the UAE and Dubai when it comes to such cases?
It says that the UAE and the Gulf countries in general, first of all, do not treat immigrants, especially immigrants of countries that do not fight their corner so much as Western countries, so well, and also that essentially, they consider that that's not their problem. And to some extent, it isn't, because I'm not sure that they're signatories to any kind of the treaties that you have, for instance, within the European Union and between the European Union, say, and the Northern American continent on the problems of migration. For instance, the reason why these people would be flying to South America, and especially to places like Venezuela, is that countries like Venezuela not only have no problems with people traffickers, but they have been weaponizing migrants to create a political crisis in the United States. And here, I think we should bring in the role of Russia in this. Venezuela is a Russian client. Russia has been weaponizing migrants, as we've seen on the Polish border, through Belarus, on other places, and they use this to create political crises in various countries. So I think there's a political background in this that we ought to pay more attention to, and that I think the UAE should pay more attention to.
Anne-Elisabeth Motet is a columnist in the London Telegraph based in Paris. Anne-Elisabeth, thank you very much for talking to us today.
Thank you.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.